You've probably seen the headlines lately and thought, wait, are remote jobs basically done in 2026? And honestly, I get why people feel that way. You hear about Amazon pulling people back into the office 5 days a week. You hear about federal workers being ordered back in person. You see big-name companies acting like remote work was some weird phase that needs to end. So naturally, job seekers start panicking. They assume the whole remote job market is drying up. But that is not actually what the data shows. The better answer is that remote jobs are not going away in 2026. They are just not as easy, casual, or beginner-friendly as they felt a few years ago. That is a huge difference. If you understand that difference, you can make way smarter moves in your job search. Reuters. Here is the part most people miss. Even with all the return to office noise, remote and hybrid work are still a normal part of the labor market. WFH research found that by 2025, 12% of full-time employees were fully remote and 27% were hybrid. The Flex Index says 66% of U.S. firms still offer some form of location flexibility. That is not a dead trend. That is a permanent shift, just not the fantasy version people got used to. WFResearch.com. Labor data backs that up too. A BLS paper notes that as of September 2025, 22.3% of U.S. workers did at least some work from home for pay, and 10.7% worked entirely remotely. On top of that, FlexJobs reported that fully remote job postings actually increased 3% in Q4 2025. So no, remote work did not fall off a cliff. It cooled, matured, and got more selective. Bureau of Labor Statistics. Now here is where people feel the pain. The remote jobs that got squeezed first were the easy entry ones. Generic admin jobs, broad support roles, positions with fuzzy responsibilities. FlexJobs found that 67% of remote postings were aimed at experienced candidates, while only 6% were entry-level. That one number explains a lot of the frustration people are feeling right now. If you are new, underqualified, or applying without a clear niche, the market feels way harsher. And yeah, it is. FlexJobs. But some remote categories are still holding up really well. The top remote fields in late 2025 included project management, computer and IT, sales, client services, and medical and health. WFH research also found that finance, information and tech, and professional and business services have the highest share of hybrid and fully remote workers. So the smarter question is not, are remote jobs disappearing? It is, which remote jobs are still strong, and how do I get closer to those? FlexJobs. And this is where a lot of people need a mindset reset. In 2026, remote hiring is less about wanting flexibility and more about proving you can handle it. Employers want people who can write clearly, manage deadlines, communicate across time zones, and produce visible results without constant supervision. Basically, remote work became more professional. Less vibe, more evidence. That might sound annoying, but it is actually useful because it gives you a plan. Instead of doom scrolling about return to office mandates, you can start building a profile that fits the current market. Focus on digital skills. Focus on measurable achievements. Focus on roles where office presence is not the main source of value. IT, project management, healthcare support, client service, sales operations, those kinds of paths still make sense. FlexJobs. There is another piece people overlook. Workers still want flexibility badly. Pew found that among employed adults with jobs that can be done from home, 75% are working remotely at least some of the time, and 46% say they would be unlikely to stay in their job if remote work was removed. That tells you employers cannot just ignore this issue forever, even if some of them are trying. Pew Research Center. So are remote jobs going away in 2026? No. But the market is more competitive, more segmented, and more skill-driven than it used to be. If you treat remote work like a serious career path instead of a shortcut, you still have a real shot. And if you want a practical place to start, platforms like HireBasis can help you find remote opportunities or connect with remote-ready talent without all the usual noise. That is the real story. Remote jobs are not gone. The rules just changed. And I'm curious, Do you think companies will keep pushing people back to the office? Or do you think flexible work is too established to reverse now? Pew Research Center.